5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How about we do it again?
6, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. They got bored.
Okay, let's try one more
I
time.
definitely.
Ready?
I can move you. Making review. Making review.
Say 6,
6,
5,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, valued Rank and Review listeners. This is the 267th episode of Rank and Review, and this is the voice of your host and random Canadian, Larry Parsons. Welcome to another weird one. We welcome back the always entertaining Raylee Perkens to discuss 6 deeply strange movies. In fact, the episode will be called Strange Horror, and I think if you press forward, you will understand why. It's an eclectic collection of movies that maybe didn't find everybody's menu, so hopefully there's some fun discoveries for you. And if you have feedback for me, you can send that to ranknreview@gmail.com. That's ranknreview@gmail.com. You can also check out the website at ranknreview.ca. And there is, of course, a YouTube presence for Rank and Review now, so you can leave your rank below the episode, or you can send your feedback there, and I will see it. Tell a friend about Rank and Review, and go forward knowing that there will be spoilers for the 6 movies that we discuss, and there will be coarse language, most likely from myself. Thank you, as always, for listening to Rank and Review. We're going to be dropping every other Wednesday till we hit 275. And I really appreciate you lending your ears to my podcast. Now, let's get strange. And it's going to be called Strange Horrors. And before we hit record, Raylee, it's great to have you back. Hello, Raylee Perkens. Let's hear your voice.
Hi.
There it is.
It's good to see you.
We were talking before I hit record, like, why do I put certain movies together in a group? I guess these can all be loosely described as horror-ish kind of movies, or in that realm. But I think with this list, I'm sort of reaching at this intangible thing. There are movies that are easy to recommend, and there are movies that are like, no, don't watch this. But then there's these really weird movies. Movies that either I like, but I'm not sure why I like, or that I don't really like, but that I wrestle with it enough that I'm sort of fascinated enough to come back to it to try to figure it out. Like, what the hell was that movie? And I think...
I have up a lot on these movies. Like, what is going on right now?
Exactly. And I think the sub-scene, other than the sub-theme, other than genre here, is that vibe. Is that sort of, this is an original, strange movie. What is this? What am I looking at? Like, it's bizarre, it's strange. I feel in new territory somehow. And these are the hard ones to recommend, because maybe someone will love Prevenge, but maybe they'll be deeply offended by it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe someone will think Scare Package is hilarious. Maybe they'll think it's a collage of nonsense, right? And in a lot of ways, there's a defense for both arguments.
Yeah, they could go either way, for sure.
So, I guess, I don't know, if you can come up with a better title for the episode than Strange Horror, I'm receptive to that, but that's the vibe that I was riding with these 6 movies, if that makes sense.
That was the thought process?
Yes.
Okay, makes sense now. I was like, to me, and there always seems to be one that just doesn't fit at all. Like, 5 of these movies, I feel are like, yeah, I can totally see that. But then to me, there's one, and we'll talk about it when we get to the one, that just seems like an outlier on this list in a different way.
That happened it wasn't last time, but when we did the bad movie episode, that Scorpion King kind of sort of stuck out in a strange way, but...
Did.
I am a human being with flaws. That way anybody listening to this, they can stop worrying that they're listening to some AI, version of fandom here. No, this is the real deal. I come complete with all of my flaws. I like that your puppy is peeking over your shoulder.
And Dolly. I got a Dolly Parton poster on the wall behind me.
Oh, lovely. What would Dolly do? Okay. Is there anything
that... How would Dolly rank these 6 movies? Is always what I ask myself when I'm on one of your podcasts.
Yeah, no, I can totally see Dolly getting off to Cocaine Bear, for sure.
Alright, sure, start chatting.
Sure, was Cocaine Bear the thing that made you want to do this list? Was there one specific that jumped out for you?
Oh, it was definitely because of Cocaine Bear.
Okay. The rest just came with it.
When I looked at all the other lists or whatever, that one just, really jumped out at me.
Lovely. Okay. Well, if you want to get busy, let's get busy. The 6 strange horrors that we are going to be discussing today, we're going to talk about... Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first. I mean, the bear out of the way first. Cocaine Bear. We're going to talk about Snow White, A Tale of Terror. I'm suspecting that maybe this is the one that you think is the outlier. Mad God, a stop-motion film from Phil Tippett, the guy who did special effects from all of your favorite movies of your childhood, and now made this horrifying thing.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Scare Package, a movie that has 7 different writer and directors, all sort of dogpiling on top of each other to play with the genre. It's an interesting Shudder original. Speaking of Shudder again, we have the movie Prevenge, where the actor, director, writer, and star was 8 and 9 months pregnant while she made the movie, something like this.
Yeah,
so,
and then the baby is her baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to... Sorry, go ahead.
That really jumped out to me when I was reading about it. Holy shit, that was...
Yeah. No, it's an impressive feat, and it's an interesting individual movie, but, we'll get to it. And we're going to finish with a real oddity called 12-Hour Shift. And again, what is that movie? Is it a comedy? Is it a thriller? Is it a horror movie? What is 12-Hour Shift? What are these movies, Raylee? I need to discuss it with you.
I hope we figure it out at some point today.
But let's press on with the understanding that there's going to be swears and spoilers. God damn it. Boom.
Millions of dollars worth of cocaine fell from the sky this morning.
There's more of this out there. They dumped it somewhere.
A lot of cocaine was lost. I need you to go and get it.
No, don't eat that. Let's see what kind of effect that has on it.
The bear. It did cocaine. A bear did cocaine.
Apex predator. High on cocaine. Out of its mind.
Can someone do something?
What's wrong with that bear? And don't ever come down.
I was gifted a Blu-ray copy of Cocaine Bear from my children for Father's Day. And I felt loved, but more than that, I felt understood. I felt known. My boys, they get me. Yeah, Cocaine Bear is one of those absolutely is what it is movies. The elevator pitch for the movie is the title of the movie. It claims to be based on a true story, but from what I understand, the true story was this. Some drugs were dropped out of a plane into a forested area to be reclaimed by people. A bear happened upon it, ate a big chunk of it, and died almost instantly. I believe that's the truth of the story.
That's what I read too, and I believe they named the bear Escobar.
There you go. And so it's kind of a sad story, and they didn't want to make a sad movie. Elizabeth Banks, she wants to, make a weird, popular movie. Elizabeth Banks has been trying to make her way into the directing field, and she kind of had a misstep with this Charlie's Angels movie she did. Apparently the movie's okay, but I, like everyone else, did not watch it because I, like everyone else, had no interest in another Charlie's Angels movie, right?
Fair.
I think it was just a bad choice. I just think it was bad timing for that particular project. I said I'm not going to write Elizabeth Banks off as a director for a movie that I haven't seen. But, yeah, I think for this project she wanted something that would be overtly commercial. And for some reason, Cocaine Bear, which I guess had existed in some kind of script form for quite a while, just seemed to be the right ticket. And it was the weird right call. Not that I think Cocaine Bear is for everyone, but for the people who like it, I think they will like it a lot. But as you selected this group of movies because of this movie, please, let's start with Raylee. Where is Raylee with Cocaine Bear?
So I am always shocked when I see Elizabeth Banks' name come up on the director. Like, she's this weird one where when I hear her name, I don't think I'm going to like her, but I always do in some way. She was in the Pitch Perfect movies, if you've ever seen any of those.
I'm afraid I have missed out on the Pitch Perfect franchise.
She's like the commentator who makes commentary on the Glee events. They're like singers or whatever, the Glee singers. And she's super dry, and there's a lot of innuendo and sarcasm, but she plays it really ditzy and straight. And so it's like that, so it makes it just so funny because you can really see her playing both roles at the same time, and that's the juxtaposition is what makes that character so funny. In a movie called Pitch Perfect, there's nothing really great about that movie, but she's really, really great in that movie. And I always forget that she's directed this movie. And I mean, everyone, as soon as this movie came out, I think 8 people sent me the trailer. They were like, this movie that Raylee is going to go and watch. And like I told you before, I saved this movie. I just watched it last night only because I could have not watched this movie for this podcast and still talked about it. I know it well enough that I could talk about the movie.
Yeah.
And there's just, it's just exactly what it is. You see the Cocaine Bear in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yep. Some unfortunate tourists get their legs ripped off at the very beginning of the movie.
The pregnant tourist gets her leg ripped off, I think is the big thing, right?
No, the gloves are off to a degree, but it's also going out of its way to stay strange and weirdly fun. So no matter how grotesque things get, you're never really devastated by anything that happens.
And it actually has a lot of formulaic similarities to Piranha.
Right.
Piranha, not the original, but the remake that came out in the early 2000s. And just the way that it's set up, I noticed that really clearly last night, and that there's a lot of just sort of formulaic aspects that I think it really kind of follows that model, and I loved that movie. But there's just, and as much as I love Cocaine Bear and enjoy watching it every time, there's just something that doesn't quite click in this movie in the way that Piranha worked. And I don't know if it's just, there's so many storylines.
It's a trudging movie. It doesn't move particularly fast, especially for the first half. We get to know a lot of these characters, and we get to see why they're all in the same geographical location. But there is a deliberate, slow oddness to the movie. And it's not... It's a tactical thing. I think it wants to be what it is. It wants to be weird. And it wants us to kind of like these characters, but to understand that the world we're living in and not be devastated when we see them get killed. So even though the drug runner guys are doing terrible things and they're trying to beat people up, there's something weirdly pathetic and adorable about them at the same time. Or a scene in which two kids find a brick of cocaine in the woods and try some. And, like, how drawn out it is, and how hilarious the boy's trying to lie and pretend like this is this old hat for him. And the whole conversation and exchange is just weird and uncomfortable for the sake of being weird and uncomfortable. And again, it will put people off. But if you're a weirdo like me and Raylee...
I love, too, how many characters accidentally do cocaine in this movie.
It's just raining, or it's snowing, I guess. It's snowing cocaine in this forest.
Like the one park ranger who dies, the male one, right off the start, his whole face is just, like, covered in powder.
Is it Wendell Pierce, the sheriff with the dog? The sheriff who was sort of stuck on top of the...
oh, yeah.
What do they call it? Oh my god, my brain.
The gazebo?
The gazebo. He somehow manages to climb on top of the gazebo, but he cannot figure out how to get himself back. But he has this weird and completely unnecessary sub-story where he is asked to take care of this dog. And it's set up like he hates this dog, but he clearly deeply loves this dog. And it's so strange, but I love it. And I love that actor. He was in The Wire. He was the corrupt politician who always said, "Shit."
Yeah, he's fantastic.
But, again, it's one of those things where if you took half or most or even all of his scenes out of the movie, like, the movie would still actually completely come together and make mostly sense. Like,
and that's what I meant. Like, you could do just the, like, Carrie Russell story with her kids, or you could have done just the, like, bad guys trying to find their drugs with the cops following them straight. Like, there's so many different stories, and they don't really come together, and then all of a sudden you got fucking Ray Liotta in the movie, and you're like, what the hell is Ray Liotta doing in this movie?
One of his last on-screen performances.
Yeah, they did a memorial thing at the end, I noticed on the credits last night.
I mean,
his last acting role?
I think there was a couple other ones still to come in the pipeline, but it is one of the last that he filmed.
Interesting. And Ray Liotta's last big acting role with
well,
Bear.
He's fine in the movie. I mean, he's talked about for a long time before we see him, and he is sort of, other than the bear, who is a victim of circumstance, kind of the big bad of the movie. I like Ray Liotta. I'm a big defender of Ray Liotta. I do think he could have done this role in his sleep. It was like a vintage tough guy Ray Liotta performance. So.
Yeah, there wasn't anything, like, out of his trope realm.
At all, no.
Just played Ray Liotta in the movie.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was great. He was great, but it's always shocking to me when I see him finally on the screen. Look at the fuck, this movie just seems so fascinating to me.
But it has the vibe of, like, an independently made, independently written, like, outside of Hollywood thing. Like, where it would be weird because it was, for lack of a better word, unpolished or even amateurish in quality. But no, this has amazing special effects. It's a CGI bear, but it looks really good. Like, for as ridiculous as it is to see a full-size bear chase down an ambulance, it's kind of realistically photographed. Like, I bought it.
I thought, and like at the end with like the bear cubs and stuff, when they're like playing in the waterfall, like I thought that all looked really great.
Yeah.
I love when the bear just like is always passed out.
Yeah.
And they always think that the bear is dead.
No.
And then you see her little nose quiver because she can smell cocaine, and it like rouses her from her almost near death slumber. So good.
Sorry, what's an Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Eddie, one of the guys tasked to get the drugs back. He played Han Solo in the Solo movie, and this is where his career is washed up.
Interesting.
He has this whole scene where the bear is passed out on top of him, and he has all of his muffled dialogue to the other characters from beneath this comatose bear. And again, it just seems like it's really weird that a Hollywood studio made this movie, but it's also really awesome that it made this movie.
I find it very absurd, like the humor in it. like the bear passing out and the guy getting his finger shot off. And then at the end, when the cute little puppy dog eats the finger, I always forget. And it's like, oh, what is the dog eating? And he like looks in his pocket to see if he can find his fingers that have been shot off. You realize what's happened. You're just like, who the fuck put that joke in there? Elizabeth Banks? Like, what is going on?
Why did we need to know that Margot Martindale's character was desperate for a shag? She was like trying to get laid for the first third of the movie, and then her character accidentally kills somebody, and I think it's played for a laugh. It's mainly just shocking, I guess, but like we follow this character, and this is going to be a theme in a lot of the other movies where like, oh, do we like her? Is she a protagonist? Is she going to help with the situation? Why is the story choosing to follow her? And her character kind of dead ends when she gets dumped out of the ambulance for one of the worst road rash incidents you'll ever see on film.
Faceplant dragged on a gurney, like...
I guess after a point, as much as they spend all the time with the characters, the movie isn't about the characters as it is about the moments. These really grisly, shocking, holy shit moments. And it's sort of your reward for wading through the weirdness. Now, the weirdness isn't exactly bad. It's just like, you're here for Cocaine Bear, right? So, where is Cocaine Bear? Why is it set in the 80s? Why is it meandering this way? Because it's a vibe. Like a lot of the movies we're going to be talking about this episode, it's a vibe. And you either ride that wave or you don't.
And even like it being set in the 80s, like there's no... They don't even really highlight it. Like, you know it's in the 80s a little bit from, like, the posters on the wall and Carrie Russell's pink, like, jumpsuit that she wears or whatever. But, like, all of the other characters could be from any, like, era. Like, the bad guys aren't really framed in the... I don't know, like, it seemed interesting that they didn't over-the-top 80s it. Like, with all the clothing and music and everything. I found, anyway.
And if you're going to make your movie a period piece, it should be for a reason, because it complicates your production. We talked about Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko was very, very, about being set in 1988. Why?
Right.
Why? We don't know. It's never really clear. Same thing here. They're very different movies, obviously, but, like, to set yourself in a specific period, usually there's a reason.
But this could have happened in any generation, and it would have been the exact same movie.
I also thought a little bit they might be going for a Fargo thing, like it's based on true events. So the Coen brothers put that little tag at the beginning of Fargo saying this is based on a true story, but out of respect for the people involved, we've changed the names, blah, blah, blah. It was a lie. None of it was based on a real story, but they thought within the context of this is a true story, how far can we push the narrative and people will believe it? And it turns out they could push it pretty far because people believed it. No one's going to believe that this movie is real, but I feel like they might be borrowing that based on a true story vibe, air quotes, like...
But it's one of the first things that when people say, are like, oh, you've seen the movie Cocaine Bear, did you know that actually... They always tell me that.
That's right.
I do know that, but also, no. Yes and no.
The tricky part is when it comes to recommending or rating the movie. I really liked it because I caught the vibe, but I can totally understand somebody not catching the vibe and not liking it. So, like, it's the weakest review in the world to say you should just watch Cocaine Bear yourself and make up your own mind. But, I don't know. What do you say? The movie is called Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think there's any... It's like... Again, like, I want to say it's not surprising, but the movie did surprise me, like, not anymore, but when I first watched it, like, it surprised me that Ray Liotta was in it, like, that was weird to me. It surprised me that Elizabeth Banks directed it, like, that's a weird thing for me. So in a movie that I'm like, well, it's called Cocaine Bear, there's no surprises. There actually is some surprises in the movie, like, that you're not expecting, and just, it's a weird thing for me.
It's being the best Cocaine Bear movie it can be, short of like streamlining it into like a grisly monster movie. Like, I think they want it to be comedic and weird and fun, and that's where the pacing comes in. But I think some people will lose patience with it. I am not one of those people.
Well, because it's not over the top gory. Like, the moments that are gory are gory.
It has moments.
Yeah. But it's not throughout the whole thing gore.
No.
Like some of the creature movies, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Which I find. But honestly, like, for me, one of the goriest scenes was when she shoots the guy through the head.
Yeah.
Like, that scene was gorier to me. Or maybe more shocking, because you just don't expect that to happen, too. But, like, it was gruesome when she did that. Like,
or the emergency responders who pay with their lives for responding to this situation. And it seems weird, like all of the other characters we met long before they wandered into the woods, but these two characters, who are like the main centerpiece action point of the movie, just show up doing their job.
yeah.
There's no setup for them at all.
The one guy who keeps getting blood on his jersey, and it's like, this is my favorite jersey. I'm so upset that he keeps getting blood on his jersey.
He has a rough day. He loses fingers, he gets stabbed in the back.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, this is a movie that I organically reference in my day-to-day life. Like, I will talk about this movie without being asked, hey, have you seen Cocaine Bear? Like, it just comes up in conversation for me. So, it doesn't surprise me that I picked this list with that on there, because I always will have wanted chances. Like Ghost Shark. I love talking about Ghost Shark. It's just a movie that I'll talk about all the time. If you let me, you know?
Just give me a shot to talk about it. Well, let's move on then and see how the rest of the movies play for you. Good enough?
Sounds good.
Did you think you could hide from me? Did you think I wouldn't be able to find you? If you're going to play cat and mouse, just remember, I'm the cat. That's better. What's the matter, dear? Cat got your tongue?
Snow White, A Tale of Terror. Practically the same movie as Cocaine Bear, really. Why in the world are we talking about this? Well, this came out in 1997.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's kind of ahead of its time as far as like the adult, trying to be more adult-facing fairy tale, which is kind of weird when you say it out loud. Fairy tales you associate with children's theater, with children's stories, even though Grimm's fairy tales are dark as hell if you read the actual original texts. The framework that we have for them is that these are tales for children. And if you look at it, the witch asking to have the heart of, Snow White delivered to her, the queen, asking for the heart of Snow White to be delivered to her, and like the just nuts and bolts truth of the story. Little Red Riding Hood has her grandmother eaten by a wolf. Like there is terrifying, awful things that happen in these stories. So why not reframe the narrative instead of being it about awe and wonder? Why not make it Snow White, A Tale of Terror? And that would sort of start to happen maybe 10 or 15 years after this movie. Where we got like Snow White and the Huntsman and Jack the Giant Slayer. There was a whole bunch of these more aggressive, dark fairy tales. But in 1997, nobody was doing this, and apparently nobody wanted it. It was not even granted a theatrical release in the States. It was just, it played in the European countries, and then it was direct-to-video and cable in the United States.
That's interesting, because both of the leads, like the Queen and King were like big names.
Sam Neill is hot off of Jurassic Park and Event Horizon. Sigourney Weaver is Sigourney fucking Weaver. Like, yeah. I love Sigourney Weaver. She was the thing that made me watch this movie. But the thing that snags it in my brain is just how strange it is. Like, it feels lost in time. It doesn't feel like a 90s movie. It feels like maybe it was made in the 80s or something. But it's also very modern in its sort of feminist take on things and wanting, you know, Snow White to have power and wanting to justify the stepmother's evil and wanting to sort of set up and pay off these things using horror beats instead of fantasy beats. It's strange because I think the movie is successful in doing all of those things, but I kind of watch it just passively, like it washes over me. Like, it's such a strange experience. Who is this movie for?
Well, and like, you don't really get the King's point of view. Like, you don't really spend a lot of time with him, but you do spend a lot of time with like Snow White and the Queen, and you do. Even if you're not sympathetic to Sigourney Weaver's Queen, you understand her actions more.
Yeah.
In this movie, like, I was sympathetic to her because I was like this bratty little kid.
Well, it feels like she's making an effort at first, right? Like, she is in an awkward position. She gifts the dog to the little young girl, but, you know, my mom died and you're my replacement, and there's a built-in resentment there. And then she is unable to have her own child, which I think would go a long way to sort of calming her and like satisfying, if she can't get a satisfying mom relationship from her stepdaughter, perhaps her new daughter. But obviously there's a miscarriage which she directly blames on Snow White, and this sort of turns her. This and the mirror, which I really like how they do the mirror, mirror on the wall. It's just another strangely gothier, creepier looking version of Sigourney Weaver telling her all the things that she desperately wants to believe are true, but knows deep down are not.
Well, and it's so, one of the things that I found really interesting is when she runs away and she's in the woods, right? In the cartoon and in the story, she's with the dwarves, right? But there's a sort of like, that is not the case in this movie. She's just sort of with like a band of misfits.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Outsiders.
Like, I don't know how. Outsiders, yeah. But what's really interesting to me is they're currently trying to make a live-action Snow White, and it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. They've been, like, plagued with all of these problems, and, like, one of the things is, like, originally wanted to use, like, little people, and then it was, like, this whole politically correctness, and I'm like, but this movie is in 1997. They could have probably got away with it then.
Yeah.
And they decided not to, which I thought was a really interesting choice for the time. I didn't realize, that's when it was made.
It's weird, though, because, like, on one hand, yes, it's condescending that you're always asked to play an elf or a dwarf or something, but there are 7 roles for people of, you know, small stature, and, like, now they're gone if you can't use it. If now somehow it's offensive to them. Same thing, they did this new version of Time Bandits, apparently. I haven't seen it. But they're upset that there were no dwarves, or I don't know what the right term for the...
Little people?
Yeah, no little people were cast for that movie. And in the original movie, half the cast were little people. But, again, like, you can't win, right? So, if we cast them, it's inappropriate. But if we don't, we're denying them work. Actors gotta work, you know? Just let actors act. And if it's the right person for the part, give that person the job. I think this movie wanted to hire good actors. That's what they did, you know? It would probably be much harder to find 7, you know, little people that had that much game to work with this cast, professional Hollywood actors.
Well, because in this movie, those characters have storylines, whereas in the sort of other versions, they are just the character, like you don't really spend any time with them.
Right. No, these guys mind. They live dangerous lives. They're very suspicious and kind of dangerous when we first meet them. They get squished by trees and buried in the mine, and their lives are not, you know, they don't whistle their way to work. This is not the Disney Snow White. They are very consciously trying to play, like they called it, a tale of terror.
Yeah.
On that level, I wonder if they couldn't have gone a little further then. a little more violent, a little more sexual even. Like, if they're removing the kids out of this and they're using the word terror, it was like they were flirting with an R, but they couldn't quite go all the way to R, right?
What was the rating on it?
I think it was like parental accompaniment or like...
Yeah, I mean, I just, like, kind of stepping out of that for a minute, like, I love the fairy tale adaptations. I mean, I'm a librarian, so like, fairy tales are my jam, you know, and I know all of the different like, not that I know all of them, but I read a lot of the different versions of them and whatever. And so just from like a fairy tale perspective, I thought they did a really great, Sigourney Weaver did a really great job with the Queen. Snow White, I always forget her name, but she played this really annoying character in Dawson's Creek named Abby.
Okay.
She drives crazy from that character. She's definitely doing the Labyrinth. What's the girl from Labyrinth's name? That character.
Jennifer Connelly?
Yes, she's doing that version of that role, right? And she did it well.
Monica Keena, I believe, is the name of the actress.
Yeah. Abby from Dawson's Creek, pain in the ass.
Man, it's like you watch totally different shows than I do.
True. But yeah, like, it was just it was scary when it was meant to be scary. I also thought there was an element of, like, I mean, the Queen has always been the witch, but sort of those, like, religious aspects brought into her religion, like, is like that it's alluded to, and obviously if she's a witch, you would assume she's not Christian, and if she has a magic mirror and does magic things, but like, this movie did a really good job of bringing those elements into her life and weaving them as a part of who she was.
Well, and the promotional interview with Sigourney Weaver, that's what she really wanted. She's okay with playing the part of the wicked stepmother, but she wants to know why the wicked stepmother is a wicked stepmother. And the movie definitely accommodates her at the expense of Sam Neill. Also, what does Sam Neill feel about all of this? Obviously, he's a dad protecting his daughter, but establishing sort of moment of the movie that says this is a horror movie, this is not your kid's Snow White. Sam Neill and his wife are in a carriage, it flips, she's crushed by it, it induces her labor, she can't be saved from her injuries, and he basically has to cut Snow White out of her mother, and all this red blood trickles out into the Snow White, and that's where we start. So if anybody accidentally rented this movie for their kids, at least right away they would know to turn the shit off right now. But after establishing that horrifying sort of origin to her, and Sam Neill's character just being, this is all he has now, Sam Neill is kind of abandoned as soon as Sigourney Weaver shows up. And I think that there was probably also interesting psychological things to mine within his character.
Yeah, no, I wished we got more of his story, even though I'm glad, like you said, about, like, the sort of feminist take on it, but, like, does he understand what's happening? How does he see this relationship ever playing out between his wife, the stepmother, and his daughter, and, because he's very close with Snow White, like, they have this very tight, relationship because of the circumstances of how she was brought into the world, right? But yeah, you're right. It does kind of just, as soon as Sigourney Weaver's character is introduced, it does kind of, we just go into her realm.
Well, and the same issue that Sigourney Weaver has with the stepmother kind of applies to the king in these sort of stories, or the dad in these sort of stories, because, like, why is he so dumb to be with someone who is so transparently evil, right? Like, in a lot of the kids' interpretations, either the father is well-meaning but naive, or is literally bewitched and put under a spell by this woman. Like, so trying to make it real, trying to make it terrible. He feels guilt that, like, that she was raised without a mother, and that somehow, even though it was clearly an accident that wasn't his fault, he feels responsible for her happiness and whatever is missing in her life without a mother. And his need to keep her safe and keep her happy is actually what drives her away. You know, that suffocating thing that will drive your teenage girl into the woods, right? There's stuff there too. You didn't have to have one or the other, is all I'm saying. I kind of belabored the point, but yes.
No, like, I mean, the other thing that I thought that this movie did really well is, like, Sigourney's, like, descent into madness. Like, and how, yeah, like, with Snow White, she's in the woods with this group of bandit guys trying to make her way back. She doesn't know what's going on. And then she is, like, yeah, just her descent into madness was so good in the castle. And when she turns away the doctor at the door because, you know, and she doesn't want she doesn't want the doctor to see what she's been doing to everyone in the castle, but you really do feel like after her this like very traumatic miscarriage that she's been through, like you really just see that descent into madness so clearly play out, and I thought that was just really excellently done.
Well, and if they don't bring the terror like viscerally with the violence, the concept of these plague victims turned zombies is gruesome. The concept of her carrying her miscarried child around, like keeping the corpse with her, is really troubling. Like they went full on with that darkness in that. So the main conceit is, or the main problem possibly is, does it work? Does a fairy tale work as a horror story? Do we want these two things together?
Yes.
Yes is the answer?
I do. I like to see more of this. I don't know if this movie quite is what I wanted, but I do think it would be, I don't know, like, yeah. I like some of, I don't know. I'm torn on that one. I don't want the child ones. I don't want the, like, kiddie ones.
No.
But do I want, like, this? I don't know. Do I want just, like, a straight-up slasher flick? I don't know what I want, but...
Like, you could do a horror version of Alice in Wonderland. You could do a horror version of Wizard of Oz. You could do that. I mean, they're making horror... Yeah, they're making horror Winnie the Pooh and horror Popeye movies right now, right? You could do that. And they're just doing it for the sake of the fact that copyright's expired and they can. But, yes, you can do this, but should you? Do you understand what I mean by the weird Lost in Time quality this movie has? Like, it was made in 97, but it feels like it's older, but it doesn't...
Well, there's that period of really dark animated children's movies in the 80s, right? Even though this isn't animated.
Yeah.
But, like, even The Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Secret of Nim, like, all of those sort of, like, The Never-Ending Story, like, there's some really dark elements to The Never-Ending Story. Like, pretty sure my childhood trauma started with Atreyu, like... Yeah,
so, but this was like a lost article from that time, maybe?
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
It fit more with those.
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier, for sure.
Yeah. So,
and I thought it was earlier in their careers.
Yeah.
Like, Sam Neill and Sigourney Weaver's, like, I thought it would have been earlier in their careers.
It just feels lost in time and in genre and in, like, who it's for. It's a strange movie in that way, and that's how it fought its way on the list. Is this the one you were talking about as the outlier?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Cocaine Bear was the outlier to me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that I was thinking a lot while I was watching this is right now, just because the movie Wicked is very popular, it's just come out on screen, and people are taking their kids. But people are taking their kids to see it, and then they realize it's based on a book, so then they go and they buy their kids the book, and the book
is porn.
reading it again. I read it when it first came out, like years ago in the early 2000s, and I'm rereading it again, and it is like, it's really, really dark and heavy, and there's like the religious overtones, the political overtones, the sexual overtones. Like, it's not muted at all. The book is really heavy.
I remember I picked up a paperback copy that was sitting on like a coffee table. I just thought it was interesting because the book itself was green.
Yeah.
And I just opened it up to read a random page just because. And it was very graphic sex. It was just like, holy shit.
And apparently the author did one for the Cinderella's stepsisters too, where he told the story from the stepsisters' point of view, which I thought like is also a really interesting take on like what their perspectives would be. And so I think there's a time and a place and a want for this. There's a community of people who really thrive in this dark adult fairy tale genre.
Still feels a little bit niche to me right now, but I liked it. I didn't love it, is I guess where I landed on it. But it's a real interesting kind of lost property. Nobody talks about this movie.
I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
You always just send me the little screenshots of the covers of the movies when I look them up. Like, I was so shocked that Sigourney Weaver was in this. And also, you and I never talk about the movies beforehand. Like
to keep it fresh.
Send me a screenshot of her in the movie being like, fuck, I love her.
I do, though. I do love Sigourney Weaver.
She's really great. Yeah, she's really fantastic.
You're not going to hear me talk shit about Sigourney Weaver. I'm not going to say that she hasn't been in bad movies, but even if she's in a bad movie, she's usually really good in it. Like,
it's true.
Is there anything else you want to say about Snow White: A Tale of Terror, or shall we move on to the next chapter?
No, I think it's good.
You were just saying in the previous review how we tend not to talk about the movies before we review it, because I like to keep things all nice and fresh and real on Rank and Review. But I did message you, I don't know, a few weeks ago saying, how the hell do we review Mad God? Like, I'd even seen it before, but upon revisiting it, I was like, here's a movie, stop motion. I think it's a depiction of hell, although it's never implicitly said that it's hell. I don't know what else it would be. It's some apocalyptic, industrialized place of suffering. And
underground.
Yeah. We follow this assassin character, at least for the first third of the movie, and he's kind of a tour guide of this hellscape. Some of that we can get into specifically, but as far as introducing the film, here's what I will say. Phil Tippett did stop-motion animation for all of your favorite movies. He worked on Dragon Slayer, a movie I recently reviewed with Mr. Beckman, which is an amazing movie from the early 80s. He did the stop-motion animation in Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. He did these great stop-motion dinosaur shorts throughout the 80s because his dream gig would be do a feature dinosaur picture. Phil Tippett gets hired to do Jurassic Park with Steven Spielberg. And right as they're gearing up for production, Steven Spielberg sees a test of a CGI T-Rex skeleton. And Phil Tippett loses his dream job. He still kept on as a dinosaur consultant. Like, they liked the way he animates dinosaurs, so he helped the special effects crew, and he got an Academy Award, and I wouldn't take it away from him. But he basically spent his life preparing for a dream job that he never really actually got to do. It's this weird psychological thing that they say that we are raised to play in our parents' generation. But when we grow up, we're not in our parents' generation, right? We're in our generation. So we've been raised for a different generation each time. This movie took 30 years of his life. Stop motion as a genre is largely dead. And he has to sort of scrape this together on weekends with volunteers, piece at a time. And by his own admission, the work was just coming out of him. He didn't know where it was going. He just sort of felt his way through it. And the movie is definitely reflective of that. It is a long, well, not long, it's a short meander through terror and suffering. And because it's terror and suffering, it feels long. But I have to project what I imagine he was going through, you know. He's still a very celebrated person in Hollywood. He still works special effects. But I feel like this is sort of an expression of artistic suffering in a lot of ways. He has to make this art, even if he doesn't understand this art, even if it's not going to appreciate it by anyone, even if it's too expensive to be, like, justified. he will spend 30 years to make Mad God, a stop-motion movie with no animation.
Script,
Or no,
words.
no. It has only animation, I meant to say. No dialogue. My brain,
Dialogue,
my wires are crossed in my brain today, apparently. But you know what I'm going for. It's an experience movie. But a lot of times I'll wag my finger at this sort of thing. It's sort of the David Lynch over art house. David Lynch, rest in peace, by the way. Like, sooner or later, I want a story. I want to find some meaning. I want to think that the person behind this thing had a point to get across. And at the 85 minutes this is, I don't know what this means. It's strangely, darkly, grotesquely gorgeous, I guess, if that's the right word to use. It's strangely hypnotizing at times. It's challenging. But I don't know how to review it. I can describe it to you, but I don't know how to review it. I think it's an experience worth having. But Raylee, help me here. I'm a drowning man.
Yeah, so this is, I was going to text you after when I was watching this movie and being like, have you ever had a guest not complete a movie
Okay.
on the list? Because about 25 minutes in, and then I stopped it. I was about 25 minutes in, and then because I try, again, if I'm not familiar with the movie beforehand, I try and go in completely blind. Like, I don't read any reviews or anything. I like to go in fresh if it's a movie that I'm not familiar with.
Right.
And then afterwards, I kind of do the deep dive and do all the stuff that I figure out. So at about the 20 minutes, I stopped it. So first of all, am I watching the right movie? And because you had messaged me saying, how do we review this? I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's the right movie. He's obviously having the same thoughts I am about, what do we talk about? Then I did, at the 20-minute mark, I did the deep dive and realized that there was going to be no change in this movie, that it was just going to maintain that same pace, or whatever you want to say, animation style, until the end. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And it wasn't that I was grossed out. It wasn't that I was I could watch the movie. I just didn't really want to. I didn't care to. And when I was thinking about how to answer your question of how do we review it, I'm because there was a ton of people who were like, this is brilliant, he's brilliant, this is amazing, the animation in this is amazing. And I'm for the people who are interested in the technicalities of stop motion and the animation, and I understand the people who love this movie from a technical standpoint.
For sure.
And from an artistic standpoint. I am not that person. I am the person who is in camp cocaine bear.
Right.
This movie was not made for me. This movie, I did finish it. I did get to the end of the movie. I've committed to finishing it for the podcast. And I understand the people who like it, why, but I am not that audience.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't find anything there wasn't a moment where I was like, oh, that's cool, I like that, or
Yeah.
this is interesting for me to watch.
Well, going back to the theme of the episode, where you can't put your hand around the movie, you don't know how to recommend it or what to do with it. I mean, I think it fits snugly in that sort of parameter.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like it's celebrated for the wrong reason. Here I go about to talk shit about David Lynch again, even though he just recently passed away. But I understand why people love David Lynch, but sometimes I feel like he was celebrated for the wrong reasons. That blew my mind. I have no idea what that was. That just completely, wow. Every time I watch it, it means something different. No, that's not something David Lynch is doing, okay? That's something you are doing, okay? That is your reaction to whatever the hell David Lynch made up that day, right? And this is my problem with any artistic piece that you're making up as it goes along. Without the structure of a narrative, without the anchor of character, all we get is sort of the bleak visuals. It's less than an hour and a half long, so I'm a little bit more forgiving of it. It's beautifully stop-motion animation, so I'm more forgiving of it. Whereas David Lynch will do this for 2 or 3 hours, he will do this for an hour and a half or a little bit less. So it's a more comfortable package for me, but I don't feel the need to make excuse for its aimlessness. I would just say that's built into it. Again, I've said this too much on the podcast, but you could project this movie on the wall and play your favorite album or something and just like listen to this music that you like and let the images wash over you, and it might be a better experience. There's a sequence in this movie where you hear a baby crying for it feels like 10 minutes.
There's a lot of crying.
Like, I get that it's about misery and suffering, but, like, have some pity on your audience, too. Like,
at one point I was thinking of, remember, like, the Teletubbies with, like, the baby and the son giggling?
Yes.
It's, like, the alter ego to that, like, the, like, that was what I was thinking of, is that, like, baby and the son, but, like, the opposite.
The other question is, who is this for? Like, I would say, like, the college, pothead crowd, but do you want to show up at midnight and get high as balls and watch Mad God? Because I sure wouldn't. Like, no, thank you, sir. This is nightmare fuel. But there are those trolls and those people that kind of get off on just darkness for darkness' sake. And that is this.
He originally released some, like, shorts of this before it was all put together. And a lot of the reviews and stuff I were reading were like, I liked the shorts better because they were a little bit more compact, and even though I don't think there was ever like a story, it kind of was like one slice of the pie.
Yeah.
So you didn't see multiple things, so they kind of just said those made more sense to them as a person watching.
But a slice of the pie would be more delicious than the whole pie. I absolutely agree. As a series of short films, this might be better received, or at least easier to take in. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be impressed by it on some level. The amount of artistic integrity to it and how much work went into it. But imagine if they put that much integrity and work into something that had a story or a point.
Yeah. I made it to the end, but I was glad to hit end and walk away from my TV when it was over. Like,
I'm sorry that you had a hard time with it. I mean, they can't all be winners, and I think mostly this is an interesting list anyway. I don't think you've suffered more for rank and review. I think so, but I respect that it got made. I respect that it exists, but I wrestle with how enjoyable it is.
Well, and the commitment that he had to the craft.
That's right.
To do this.
He dedicated his life to stop motion, and this is his statement on it.
Yeah. So again, I understand who the movie is for. I understand why the people who like the movie or appreciate it or whatever. But I am not.
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
Well, at least it was only 88 minutes.
Your cold opener, you only have a few minutes to put all the pieces in place.
This is the best house on the market.
It just seems too good to be true.
What would happen in a horror movie now?
Everyone I care about ends up dead.
As if it wasn't bad enough that we're babysitting on Halloween.
That's what they were doing back there. Tests and shit.
The engine will not start in 17 out of 18 cases.
It's the Devil's Lake Impaler.
It's not over. He can still come back.
I'm pretty sure something bad happened here.
You don't understand! You have to kill me now!
You okay? Picking up hitchhikers is dangerous business. It's how horror movies start. It's like you're having a rough night.
It's 11 a.m.
Hi, I'm hunting a creature, well, a man. Maybe you've seen him?
How are we gonna fix this? I'd like to rent a wood chipper.
We are in a horror movie! Nobody? Horror movie.
Okay, so maybe let's talk about something that's a little bit easier to wrap our hands and head around. Scare Package is a horror anthology comedy movie. It's definitely one of these let's wink at the genre things, which honestly, it's had its time, but Scream was a long time ago. The constant meta breaking down of horror is now just a way to make horror less scary. The commentary has kind of been talked out at this point to a large degree. But I think what Scare Package does is clock in on a very specific sort of nostalgia that I have for the 80s.
The video store clerk?
Yeah. The 80s and early 90s, the tactile world of the video store. The sights, the smells, the sounds, and the vibe of the video store. And the, yes, holier-than-thou video store clerk. Like...
I worked at a video store in Vancouver when I lived there. It was fucking fantastic.
It's a good... I remember thinking, just as a world of naive, this is me trying to be a young artist in Saskatchewan. Thinking, if... on the unlikely chance that working as an artist doesn't pay out for me, I could totally work at or even run a video store. Right? It's a good thing I didn't invest in that. But there was a time where the video store was as exciting to me as, like, I don't know, going to the fairgrounds or something like that. There's the potential that lied in wait for you at the video store as a kid was just amazing. And yeah, the guy behind the counter, which maybe when you're a kid you think is kind of cool, but, is just this kind of insufferable dork in a lot of ways, who has dedicated his life to all of the worst movies just because he wants to talk to you about something that you've never heard of. That somehow empowers him in some way. So I guess nerd video culture is what this movie was made for. And you want to guess that it actually spoke to me, Raylee? Because I was surprised. Usually, especially when they have this many different writers and different directors, I expect kind of an up and down experience. But I laughed pretty consistently throughout this whole movie. Some of the shorts definitely worked better than others, but I found the quality of each individual segment to be surprisingly strong. And that it worked both in a gross-out level and in a comic level. I don't think it ever manages to be legitimately scary, but it is consistently, at least for this fucking weirdo, consistently entertaining.
But it has, like, the elements of, like... So, like, you said where you referenced, like, Scream, and then they came out with, like, Scary Movie.
Yeah.
So, the spoof of Scream. And I'm like, this fell more in that camp to me.
Right.
Of, like, the spoof of the spoof. Do you know what I mean?
Meta beyond the meta.
Yeah. Yeah, I laughed a lot. I, again, went into it kind of blind. I didn't know what to expect. So, at first, I was a little bit like, why are they jumping? Like, I liked the first story I really liked. And then all of a sudden, it moved to the next story. And I was like, what? Why are we going? And then I, like, figured out what was going on or whatever. But I think I was just disappointed because I actually really enjoyed
the first setup.
Short. The characters in it were just really funny to me. I laughed a lot in this movie. And then at the end, when they all came together and were navigating all of the horror movie canons in one laboratory research room, like, that was really funny to me.
You cannot predict where this movie is going, and I will give it points for that. Because it deals in horror tropes, you expect the movie itself to be tropey, but it isn't. The little Asian kid that he's training to be his star employee is actually covertly there to mine him, to put him in this horror movie scenario so he can be studied. His horror wisdom is going to be, used for this scientific experiment. But for most of the movie, we think he's this sort of meek guy who's being bullied by his new boss in this video store. And, story by story. Just to break it down. In the first opening, we have a story about this guy who's clearly knows he's a peripheral character in a horror movie. And he just aspires to be more. He wants to play more a part of the plot. And in that effort, accidentally puts himself in the position of being the killer. Not because he wanted to be, but just because he broke the rules of the genre. And this is great. And then we find out, no, that was actually just a movie that was being watched at this video store. And then this guy's being trained, and he watches another movie, which is like a combination of every camp movie you've ever seen. There's a serial killer, there's a zombie, and there's stupid people making dumb decisions. And can you keep your goo over here, and we'll keep my goo over here? And like,
the goo is really funny. I will give,
the kind of violence. They did it in Planet Terror too, where it's got this tactile, sticky kind of like, you kind of bunch up your hands while you're watching the movie.
The other one that it reminded me of was we reviewed Dead Ants on this one. And
That's
he's
right.
like the bloody stump in the ant hill or whatever, and he's like crawling still. It's kind of what the goo reminded me of.
Yeah. I think the noticeably weakest story, if I had to one, is called Mister. It's about a guy at a bar who sees a advertisement in the bathroom about men empowerment's group, and he goes there.
Yeah.
You're making a face. It upsets you.
Yeah, as like someone who like fucking hates men's rights activists with all of my being.
No, white guys have it the worst, girl. It's
and like there's, I think too, like there's some Jordan Peterson stuff happening in the headlines right now that are like subtext to my life right now. And then I was watching this in that subtext, and I was like, man, these guys are real though. This is real. These guys are meeting in these freaking church basements, and this is what they believe. So I actually was really upset by that one because I was like, I can't.
But they kind of missed the satire on it. They just sort of showed these guys and then killed one of them. But like the other movies, I think, went a couple levels deeper in what they were trying to do. It wasn't bad, though. I didn't hate it necessarily, but compared to the other shorts, it was noticeably weak.
I should have just killed them all.
Yeah, and we should have been laughing along with them. Go ahead and have a good meal, werewolves. I'm on Team Werewolf today. Like, let's do this. But again, if that's the weak one, then we have Girls' Night Out, where a bunch of girls go into a convenience store and steal a forbidden lollipop. Again, describing it sounds really stupid, because it is. But
it kind of works.
It kind of works. And that's the thing, like, again, the night it came back, again, part 4, the final kill, is just another exploration of the unkillable killer thing. A bunch of people finally get this guy who's been hunting them in a position where they can kill him, and no matter what they do, he will not die. And then the movie abandons the anthology narrative, and all of a sudden we stay with the video store, and yeah, our main character gets put in this scientific lab and experimented on, and, you know, how is he going to react in these movie scenarios? It's a lot to explain plot-wise, but it happens really fast. It's not a long movie, and even if you're not feeling the vibe of this particular scene, something else is going to be happening in the next scene that's going to melt your brain. It does a really good job in just sort of shaking the keys and keeping you occupied. It's not doing a lot new, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I said, I thought it clipped along really well, and I liked when it kept cutting back to the video store as sort of the segue piece between, because we all know the video store character, right? It's like the guy in Clerks. We've either seen them in movies, we've been them, or we know them, right? Like some person who just loves the sound of his own voice, wants to tell you everything he knows about the most obscure whatever.
Yeah.
I used to date a lot of musicians. There's a lot of people who want to tell you about the most obscure album who this guy recorded. Like, that's who that character is, right?
Yeah,
and
but you gotta hear the demo version, man. It's amazing. Yeah.
Right?
But I like how the storekeeper and the wannabe employee are clearly threatened by each other, too. Like, he's training this new guy, and the guy who's been haunting his store because he wants to work there is really upset by this. But they can't work together because on some level, they're the same person, right?
Yeah. And so then after we kind of got through all of these, like, stories, and you did forget the most important part of the unkillable killer is when she then falls in love with the killer.
Well, he's dreamy, though.
Right? And the poor male sidekick who's defended her through all of these other parts of her life is abandoned. I loved that. But then you get into this element that brings all of these stories together in some weird way, and then brings in the stereotypical guy's like, oh my god, it's you! I worship you!
Well, Joe Bob Briggs is the dude with the cowboy hat, and like,
yes,
he hosts in the United States a show that will talk about retro horror movies. He is kind of the real world video guy, right? He's like a cult figure, and no one else recognizes it except for our video store clerk. And the two of them absolutely know that this is a movie, even when they get killed off. Like, I'm sorry to wreck that. Joe Bob Briggs gets killed off. I was not expecting him to live through the movie, but the closest that we've had to a protagonist of this movie is the video store owner. And when he got killed, I was genuinely surprised. I thought he was supposed to use his horror knowledge to come out on top of things, but no, the movie is much more interested in subverting your expectations while giving you what you want while surprising you. So, again, it's not new, but it's kind of clever in how it's doing things. And it's a really tough thing to pull off. The best bit of evidence to this is 2 years later, Scare Package 2 happened. And it's just nowhere near the same quality as this one. This is just the right people got together with the right ideas, and it just somehow formed. This many writers and this many directors shouldn't come up with something that is so uniform. But if you'd have told me that there was one writer-director to this, I would have believed you.
Well, we've done another anthology. I can't remember the name.
Monsterland.
Pardon?
I think it was Monsterland?
Yes. And like you said, this one didn't have the same vibe as that, like the way it all fit together. Like this one really flows. Whereas that one, it was clear that I was watching distinct stories happening throughout. This one is like, this is the movie, and yeah, I see what you mean about how it doesn't feel like 6 or however many writers were distinct voices.
They melted together like two slopping piles of melting goo.
You're getting better at this.
I'm not in control. Don't want to know what's in there. I'm scared of her. I would swap her to Alvin. Fuck. She can't hear you. She can't. She's very articulate.
Kill him, or I kill you.
Do you want a drink?
If it's fun you're after, you've come to the right place.
I'm on the dark side. You would not believe what I've been doing recently. Very efficient with that one. I was wondering if I could talk to you about child charity. You're insane. I am a working mother. Children these days are really spoiled. Like, Mummy, I want a PlayStation. Mummy, I want you to kill that man.
Listen to the sound of my voice.
Okay. Let's talk about Prevenge and writer, director, and star Alice Lowe. It's a really interesting and kind of maybe transgressive in a lot of ways sort of movie. It's about a woman who is extremely pregnant and who is killing people because she is hearing the voice of her unborn child telling her to do things. And we're wrestling a little bit with whether or not this is her being crazy or if there's something legitimately happening. But the approach that the movie takes is bizarrely straight-faced, to the point where I almost take issue with the marketing of the movie, because this is sold as a horror comedy, as like a splatstick funny thing. And I think you could say it's satirical, but I don't think I would call this comedy.
No, I did not find it funny. I didn't laugh like I did in Scare Package.
It might shock you into laughter, and it might be like, there might be a few moments where you go, good lord. But like, I think it's much more a dark satire than any kind of wacky comedy, which is kind of how it was advertised. So I had to adjust to the tone of the film because I was expecting it to be a much sillier, more grotesque affair. But the deaths are taken pretty seriously, and we're not sure how we're supposed to feel about our protagonist, which is something that's going to continue on when we talk about our next review. But because we're locked into her perspective, we kind of have no choice but to follow her narrative. But when the opening scene, when she kills this admittedly kind of creepy dude in a pet store, the whole scene is framed like she is going to be the victim because, you know, she's vulnerable. She's short and she's pregnant and she's tired and she's got this look on her face like she's about to fall over. But she is the predator and he is the prey. And she does not seem to be emotionally affected by any of this death that she is dealing. And we basically watch her go from victim to victim for 80 minutes. Hilarious! What did you think of Prevenge?
But also that she is getting revenge for what she deems as her husband or partner's, the father of baby's, like, murder.
Yes.
Which we see it as an accident. I think we're meant to see it, but she sees it as, like, a murder. And so she's also, not only is it just, it's not just random victims that she's going after. She's very methodically sort of seeking revenge on these people that she deems had played a role in her husband's ultimate demise, right?
But then in the end, who was the most responsible for her husband's demise?
Her.
Yeah. So the revenge angle is just, I get some sort of backwards coping mechanism. She's got dyslexic blame. I guess I can say that because I'm dyslexic, but
And I really grappled with this movie because I think, again, the fact that the main woman who's pregnant in the show is the writer and the director, and she's pregnant in the movie doing all of this, like the mind fuck that must have had on her to be pregnant in your real life, but then playing this pregnant character in this movie. As someone who has carried a baby to term, like, I can't imagine what that would have done to me mentally, trying to play that role while being in that role.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but, like...
Well,
yeah,
and usually it's all about the wonder and magic of, you know, carrying a child and a life growing inside you, and this is sort of the... But there is sort of physical ugliness that goes on. There's a body transformation. I'm not trying to be dismissive or shitty, but I think there's a body horror aspect to pregnancy. I'm not going to pretend that I know what the experience of being pregnant is, Raylee. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that her demystifying that and her sort of resentment to the situation that she's put herself in demystifies the sort of magic things of pregnancy, and instead of that focuses on the sort of crazier aspects of pregnancy. Only instead of her like eating weird foods or lashing out inappropriately, she kills people and doesn't feel anything about it.
But I think there's something to that, in that some people like do really don't enjoy pregnancy. They don't. They feel like their body is being taken over by an alien type force. No, but like, and I'm saying this and we're laughing at it, but it's true that like there are some women who just don't like the feeling of being pregnant and feel like their body is being taken over, and they don't like the feeling at all. And I thought that she did. We don't see that very often. We don't hear that, and it's not okay for women to say that.
Well, that's what I mean when I say it was transgressive. Like.
Yeah.
The experience of being pregnant to her is not wonderful or magical or at all. At all. In fact, the opposite seems to be what's being portrayed here.
And I love that she took that angle, because we don't ever get to see that perspective ever. We can't even talk about it as women. So the fact that she did that and also made a movie about herself doing it, I thought was like just very, very... I liked that aspect of it.
And fearless about it. Like, about, like, all the negative stuff. That's what this movie is going to be about. And, like, both in the script, but just in the way she frames it. Like, there's a scene with her in the bathtub. And, like, the foreground, the front of the shot is just her huge belly sticking out of the water. And the rest of her is, like, the backdrop. It's, like, filmed to be really unflattering. And she made that choice. She was the writer and the director. This is what it looks and feels like. Deal with it. It's confronting almost. If there was ever like some part of me that was like jealous that I didn't have the power to bear a child, well, I think maybe this movie killed it because.
But also, she's fiercely protective of the baby.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
Like when it brings in the like child protection services and she's having these appointments, like she knows that they're onto her, whether she's paranoid or not. She thinks that they're onto her, and they are onto her. It's very obvious, right? And she's like, no, you can't take this baby away. Like, this is mine. You can't do this. So she's at the same time feeling like this sort of alien life form, but she's also like, but this is my alien life form. You cannot take her from me,
no.
Right?
And we can like her for that, but we can't really justify her behavior. But she also weaponizes the vulnerable pregnant lady thing, right? Like, you can't don't yell at me. Don't be mean to me. I'm pregnant. You can't. I have pregnancy armor, right? And being pregnant doesn't automatically make you nice or right or, better in any way. You're still the same person you were before you got knocked up. I'm sorry. Like,
probably an asshole.
If you were an asshole before, you were probably still an asshole now. And, it's just so weird that she gets punched in the belly, and there's this visceral response you get. I mean, I'm sure she wasn't really punched in the belly, but this woman's defending herself. She has a right to defend herself. But the idea that a pregnant woman is punched in the stomach is so viscerally awful to me that it doesn't matter what bad things she's done. There's a baby in there. Like, she's a baby container. Like, mining this for horror, I guess I understand, although it would make me uncomfortable. But to sell it as a comedy is strange to me.
Yeah, I would not have labeled this one as funny or comedy or even, like, I just found it very, like, twisted, like that psychological, like, elements. The only part that I struggled with was the baby's voice. Like, it was so cartoony when you did hear it. Like, I wished it would have, I don't know how an unborn fetus should sound in the womb as it's trying to convince you to kill people, but, like, that wasn't it to me. The only part that seemed a little bit like just hit my brain the wrong way, and I was like, I don't know, it bothered me. But I mean, again, I don't know what else you would do for that voice.
Well, there's also the scene where she castrates that dude, and it's really grotesquely, visually violent. And I don't know if it was like a bouncing the scale, since she's going to spend this whole movie talking about sort of the female perspective of this ugly physical transformation and mental transformation that's happening with her. But I'm not sure why the choice was to go as all out with the gore. Like, we see his ball drop out of his pants and hit the floor. Like, it's graphic like a full-on torture porn movie would be. It seems kind of... It's hard to say inappropriate because it's a movie about a woman murdering someone, but I was not anticipating seeing anything like that in this movie.
But also there's an element, and I don't know how I could say this in a way.
He was a terrible person. I mean...
No, but who hooks up with a pregnant lady?
Yeah, exactly.
I can say this because I was single when I was pregnant, and I wanted to hook up with people, but I knew that it was weird.
Yeah.
Because you can't hook up with this written rule, right? I don't know how to explain it. Like,
there's a baby in you. There is a baby in you.
And you aren't the dad.
Yeah.
So there's an unwritten etiquette that you don't have sex with a pregnant lady, and she really knows all of those etiquettes. I think that's what we're trying to get at. Like, she knows that you don't punch a pregnant lady in the belly.
Yeah.
And then that's going to make us react. She knows that we don't have sex with pregnant ladies. That's like a social etiquette that we just know.
Yeah.
Right? And so, as the writer, the fact that she knows all of this and then uses them in her movie, like, I think is very smart. Like, she's just very, very good at what she does, using those to her advantage, right?
Yeah. But the movie does have an uncomfortable ugliness to it. I respect it, and I really want to, like, celebrate the movie, and I want, like, to cheer for this performer, and I'd be curious to see what she made next. But for all the praise I'm heaping on it, I don't know how much I want to revisit Prevenge.
Yeah. I did find, like, the gory, like, they were quite gruesome, the scenes. They also felt deep deeply personal in a way that the deaths in horror movies don't often feel personal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I'm getting at is in the same way that, like, in Mad God, like, he is good at what he does, and I respect the people who respect him, and I am not that person. Like, she is very good at telling this particular story, and I think she's incredibly talented. I don't know if I care about that anymore, you know?
It's very, very dark, bleak stuff, but bold. Like, again, I want to compliment her, but at the same time, Jesus. It took guts to make this movie, and, like, congratulations for making this movie. It is a distinct movie. But how do you recommend this movie? What if someone was to ask you, like, what do you think of Prevenge? Should I watch it? Like, what do you say to them?
Well, and you have said before that you are very good at, like, predicting movies or whatever. Like, you just have seen so many movies, but, like, had you ever seen anything like this before?
Well, I did a guilty pleasure episode, and there was a movie called From Within about a pregnant woman, but she was literally possessed. Something crawled within her and starts telling her to kill people and feed on blood. But that was a much more, sex and violence kind of grotesque experience. This has actually got, like, more stuff on its mind, and it seems to be kind of rubbing it in your face a little bit, deliberately. It kind of wants to make you uncomfortable, but it still wants to be an entertaining, I think, horror satire. I won't call it a comedy. I just can't bring myself to call it a comedy.
Yeah. I just think, like, it's innovative in that I've never seen another movie that I could even compare it to. Be like, oh, if you like Prevenge, you'll also like this movie. There's not one that I could put in that same camp, you know?
If you like Prevenge, would you like 12-Hour Shift?
Ooh, good segue.
I can still get you a kidney. You get all the organs inside. How dead are you? Perfect.
Did you pour bleach down that man's throat?
Yeah.
What the hell did you do? Cops are coming here. I'm gonna tell them who did this. You killed an innocent man for no reason. I'm just gonna have to solve this problem myself.
I'm not leaving till you give me a kidney.
Why would you bring this cousin of yours into this if you knew she would kill people?
I sometimes have too much faith in humanity.
That is what I like about you.
12-Hour Shift. This stars Angela Batiste, or Bettis. I'm not quite sure how you say her name. She did a movie like 20 years ago called May that I really feel like should have made her into, like, some kind of a celebrity. I just thought she was so good in that movie. They cast her in, like, the TV remake of Carrie, which wasn't very good. It's just like they really need to figure out a way to use this actress because she's got something. I haven't seen her lead a movie since then until this one. Earlier when we talked about Cocaine Bear, we talked about these weird sort of establishing scenes where we met these strange characters, but we weren't sure where they were going to connect or how we were going to get towards the Cocaine Bear, but we just had to anchor on trust that sooner or later these characters were going to end up finding Cocaine Bear. The entirety of 12-Hour Shift seems to be made up of scenes, but Cocaine Bear never shows up. Like, it's those same weird character beat, weirdo, how are we supposed to like these people? What do we feel about anything? But don't worry, Cocaine Bear is coming. In 12-Hour Shift, you get those same types of characters and that same type of vibe, but you don't get any Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
And it's an important ingredient if you're making a movie called Cocaine Bear. But if you're making a movie called 12-Hour Shift, well, my wife is a nurse, and especially in the age of COVID and everything like that, I have a lot of respect for, the health sector and the amount of shit that they go through. But Much like with the police or anything like that, just because you're a doctor or a nurse or a police officer doesn't mean that you're not an asshole and doesn't mean that you don't have a lot of other flaws.
Yeah, I always think of, like, how do you know that you're a therapist? Like, what does your therapist talk about with their therapist? What does your teacher do at home? Like, these people that we just inherently trust as, like, good people or caregivers or whatever, but, like, they are so fucked in their own lives. But you don't see that because, like, when I go to work, I just put on my Miss Perkins persona and everything is
A-okay. Yeah. Well, this particular nurse has a drug habit that she has been supplementing by selling organs. Yes, that's right. She can sort of select people who are on their way out, make sure they die in a way that it doesn't disturb the medically upset the organ. She can sell the organ in the black market, support her drug habit, and all of this during her 12-hour nursing shift. Which makes you wonder, like, are we cheering for her? Do we like her? Is this about her downward spiral? Is this a story about redemption? In the end of things, it's just a day in her life, is basically what it is. It's just like a photograph of this one particularly eventful 12-hour shift. And the weird vibe of the movie is I don't know if I like any of the characters, but the movie keeps on creating scenarios in which I worry for them anyway. Again, it's a vibe of a movie. I was expecting it to be a much more grotesque, over-the-top comedy, but no, it's a vibe. David Arquette and his wife produced the movie. I don't know how they bumped into the script, and Arquette plays a supporting role of a prisoner who's being held in the hospital as well. But they brute force got this movie made, but it was made very quickly and very cheaply. And like the other movies in this list, it's got a vibe to it. I didn't exactly hate it, but I'm not fully in love with it. But I can't really compare it to anything else. So I'm like, what was this movie? Like, my wife and I watched this movie together. When it was over, we just kind of stared at each other for a while. Like, I don't know what that was. I don't regret watching it. Like, I don't feel like I wasted my time with it. And in a way, its lack of identity has kind of become its identity for me. And when the end of the shift comes and she walks out of the parking lot and gets in her car, and you think, oh, the day's finally over. She's going home. No. She sets an alarm and she goes to sleep in her car. And presumably this all starts again 12 hours from now. What did you think of 12-Hour Shift?
So, first off, I wanted to ask, like, is she the protagonist? Like, who did you think the protagonist was in this movie?
I thought Angela Batiste, the main nurse. We start with her and end with her.
I guess, but do you agree with that? Like, is she?
Well, her sister-in-law sort of takes over the middle section of the movie for a while, and I think her character serves in a way as, like, her actions are so much worse than Angela Batiste's actions that, by contrast...
But sister-in-law or her cousin?
Well, she's family anyway. Family by marriage.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about the same character, yes.
Yeah, I might have confused that detail, but... she is so pathologically selfish that she makes the Angela Batiste character seem relatively composed by contrast. But at the end of the day, this is a movie about a bunch of terrible people, and nobody really gets punished for it. In fact, one of the people that gets murdered is just a kid who was on a skateboard in the wrong place at the wrong time. He gets murdered for no reason, his bladder gets cut out of his body, and nobody is punished for it. And I don't know how we're supposed to sit on any of the things that happen in this movie, but it is strangely hypnotizing while it's happening.
So this was a movie that I started, and then about halfway through, I, like, stopped it, and was like, I don't think I'm paying, like sometimes my brain just, like, wanders, so it feels like I'm watching a movie, but, like, I'm not.
I'm wandering.
And so I actually started it again, because I thought that I wasn't following the plot. And I was indeed following it. Like, we got to the same point where I had stopped it. I was like, oh no, like, I know what's going on. I just don't know what's going on because I don't understand what's going on. But it's not because I'm not paying attention or not focusing. I'm just very confused as to what is going on. and that's okay?
No, that's okay. There's recognizable things within it. There's a character in the sort of the head nurse on duty, which is a real obstacle for Angela Batiste, who, like, because of we're watching this story unfold, she becomes this obstacle, this person that we don't like. But objectively, she is the most professional, honest, nice person in the entire movie. But in this world, she's somehow a villain?
Because she doesn't want to kill people and harvest their organs.
She default does the right thing instead of the awful thing. And everyone else seems, like, exasperated by it. It's strange.
And then, like, there's, like, the hypochondriac who's just meddles in everyone's business throughout the whole thing. That I thought, and they just kept, like, ignoring him and being like, whatever, just down, goes to town. It's like, what if there's something really wrong with him?
Well, and again, that's the sort of things that the hospital staff deal with. Mental health is not just hard on the person suffering from mental health. It's hard on the people that his sort of manicness expresses itself to. But again, it's not a very sympathetic portrayal of any of these people. Like, the perspective of the movie is that the world is a horrendous place and that not a lot matters. Like, it's kind of cynical, doesn't even say it.
Well, and that the world is out to get you. Like, those conspiracy theories are true. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't trust the people you're supposed to trust. Or, yeah. I don't know. The movie kind of, like, mucked with my brain a little bit. Like, I was just like, wait. Like, I don't know who there's no clear-cut good guys to me, or bad guys. Like, it's very, very, just like, everything's super messy all the time.
It's messy, it doesn't make sense, the wrong people get punished, the wrong people get rewarded, and it's just another day in the life. And that seems a lot more accurate than most movies that I watch, unfortunately. Not that I think that every nurse is like a drugged out, organ trafficker, or that I should respect her regardless. But this indifference to the insanity of the world, like the idea that we don't basically live in chaos, we do. We have rules that some people follow, but basically the experience of life is chaos. And I don't know. This movie acknowledges it, but in a kind of like, yeah, whatever, get used to it sort of way. This 12-hour shift is your life, right? But it's becomes so ugly that it becomes a hard thing to recommend. But I do think that there's something here. Oh, sorry. It becomes so ugly that it becomes a hard thing to recommend on some level. The perspective is dark and unpleasant, but I think they hit a note that is recognizable and that, I don't know, there is something here. But like almost every other movie on this list, as far as how to rank it, or as far as how to frame it in a way, should I recommend it to somebody? That's where I get in trouble.
I said, as someone who's been in a small town hospital, like, it's a bit gritty. The nurses, the people, the clientele, like, it's not ER. Or, no, that's the wrong word. Grey's Anatomy is what I was looking for.
Right.
Like, this is much more of what a underfunded small town again. Not that I think they're out to all steal your organs, but not pretty.
No.
And these nurses are overworked and underpaid, and they work back-to-back shifts. Like, I thought all of that came out, like, that to me was, like, kind of the point of, like, man, even nurses who, like, have a good education, who go to school, who, like, do the right kind of good things, they still kind of get fucked over. You know? I don't know. I was very sympathetic to her, I guess, because I was like, I felt like she was put.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, murder is murder. Yeah, these people may have been at the end of things, but, killing people and selling their organs to support your drug habit is not a defensible thing. It just isn't. And the movie doesn't really ask us to judge her or basically anyone in the movie. It's just all survival here.
Yeah, if she was selling the organs to, like, pay off her dad's medical bills or something, maybe we'd be more
sympathetic. Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, but yeah, we would be more sympathetic if we knew how. I also think that the sub-story about her brother being in a coma in the hospital, and her using that to get herself out of trouble, was particularly cynical. Because she hadn't said to anyone who this guy was and her connection with him. And when she gets caught stealing drugs out of his place, she covers it up by saying, look, this is my brother, and it's not that I don't trust you guys, this is why I was doing it. She used her brother's condition to lie to further her perspective. Like, there is no too low for this character. If she's not the protagonist, who would you say was the protagonist?
Well, I think in a normal, air quote, movie, it'd be the nurse who's like the good nurse.
Right.
Right?
But
she's definitely annoying in this movie. Like, we don't like her.
It's so strange.
But even the girl, like, her like, is in on it with her, right? Like, they're, like, in cahoots with one another to, like, work on it, right? Yeah, I don't know who I would say is the good guy.
And maybe that's the point. Maybe there are no good guys in this world. I don't know.
Inherently flawed, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, the cousin or family member, whoever the girl who comes in, who kind of fucks everything out, right? Like, this was a well-oiled machine.
And she wrecked everything.
Prior to the introduction of that character.
Yeah.
Right? And it was her city or whatever that, like, threw a wrench and threw this whole 12-hour shift into disarray. And, like, at no point, even though I kind of found her annoying and I understood, like, at no point did I hate her, you know? At no point, like, I was like, fucking this character's on the screen, like...
I think after she murdered the skateboard kid, I kind of hated her.
Yeah, but you meant to hate her. Like,
yeah.
Like, she still served the movie, though, right?
No, she was doing what she needed to for the movie, 100%. Yeah. But, like, again, nobody pays any price for any of the crimes that happens in this movie at any point. And it's not unsatisfying necessarily. I mean, it seems authentic to the world that it's creating. But it's almost too ugly a world to be called a comedy. But I do think that this earns the comedy sort of badge way better than Prevenge did.
Yeah. And I was going to say the other character who's technically a protagonist, but we kind of view her as, like, a pain in the ass, is that her mom is in the hospital and she knows that shenanigans is up, and so she's trying to, like, protect her mother from what's going on, and she's kind of a, like, pain in the ass, and everyone kind of hates her because all's been really...
But she's not wrong. She wants her mother to be cared for, and she wants the shenanigans to stop. She is not wrong.
And knows that something's up, right? And that her mother isn't, like, safe.
Yeah.
And, like, but we kind of are annoyed by her because she's kind of getting in the way of these nurses' shit plans or whatever. So it's interesting that both of those characters in another movie should be the protagonist in another story, but in this movie they're, like, seen as, like you said, seen as obstacles.
Can I be a gender dude bro for a second?
100.
If the two main characters, the two related girls, were men instead of women, we would hate them a lot more, wouldn't we?
We would. Yeah, we would be less sympathetic to them, for sure.
Just an observation.
Yeah, no, that's, like, I think that's fair, right? And I think that is why... But also, like, that's an interesting point that you bring up, because men in nursing roles generally is also seen as...
weak or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, not weak. I want to say effeminate. Like,
okay.
But it's not normal.
Right.
Women nurses, right? Women are caregivers. Like, that's just, like, stereotypically. So, because it's a nurse's role, if there were men in it, like, that would put another added element of, like, why the fuck are you a nurse, dude? Yeah. Like,
well, we would define him as a criminal instead of a nurse.
Interesting. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Right?
I'm not judging the movie. This is not me wagging my finger. It's just interesting. That's all, you know.
No, I think that is interesting. Because I'm trying to think of another movie where there's like two bros, like, and then one of them is like fucking everything up because he's stupid, and I can't think of one offhand. I know it exists.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. And I'm not saying that they're making some statement here or anything like that. It's just something that occurred to me when I watched the movie again. We like them because they've got personality, and you know, they're spunky and they're problem solving. But they're killing people, and they're selfish, and they're pathological liars. Like,
and they're drug addicts.
And they're drug addicts. High-functioning drug addicts, which you don't see a lot in movies.
Yeah, I don't know. When I first watched it, I had to stop it and start it again because I thought I didn't understand it.
No, it's not you. It's the movie, but the movie is very distinct and original in its own vibe. It's just, I think it's one of those movies, like a lot of the ones on this list, that it's going to go one way or the other for you. But it's not a knee-slapping broad comedy, but it's not as dark and ugly and, like, confronting as Prevenge. So it's
where I laughed at the absurdity of the moment.
Yeah.
Like, especially there's a scene where she's, like, in the morgue, and then the cop or guy comes in, and then she's, like, trying to, whatever, and, like, that whole scene played out very comically to me. Like, I, like, laughed at the absurdity.
Yeah. The casual incompetence of that police officer. Like, she's actively cutting up this corpse, and he's just having a calm conversation with her. He just assumes that what she's doing is above board, because why else would she be doing it?
Well, and I think that's that other role or questioning is, like, we just trust our nurses. We just trust our police officers, or we just trust our teachers. You know,
and should we?
Man, I don't know. As someone who's seen the inner lives of a lot of teachers, I can answer that question differently off air.
Maybe the movie is uncomfortable to us because it hits closer to home than we want it to. Got through these really weird movies. Hopefully you're not feeling too much regret. Hopefully I haven't scared you away from the podcast, because I sure love having you on the show.
Yeah, there's been worse lists, you know.
I get that this is a tough list. Like, it's been shuffling around in my head as we've been talking through these movies, but I'm in the more comfortable position that I get to go second. You have to go first. I think I know, but what was your least favorite of these 6 movies, and why?
Yeah, it was Mad God, and no diss to the people who think it's great. I understand why you think it's great, but I couldn't do it. It wasn't for me. I couldn't recommend it. Like, it definitely, like, a solid number 6 for me.
Easy call. Okay.
Yeah. So then, number 5, I've kind of moved things around now, so I'm just making sure I put Prevenge as number 5. It just made me uncomfortable. And, like, the other movies also made me uncomfortable, but I also had moments where I laughed or enjoyed it. Or, again, I think that the woman who wrote this movie and directed it, like, the brilliance of the movie is not lost on me, and the role and what she's done. I think what she was trying to do was that movie, and I think she did it very well. So, it's funny that both of the movies that are the bottom of my list are like, wow, those people are geniuses in their own realm of existence.
Yeah.
I don't belong in that existence. I'm not in that realm. So, like, keep doing what you're doing. Good for you, but no thanks. I'll pass.
Fair enough.
So then I put Care Package as number 4. And so the next 2 I, like, flip back and forth between. These are the ones where my arrows keep moving. It was good. I enjoyed it. The moments were funny. I don't know. It was good. I thought it was funny. Like the goose scene, like all of those scenes were really funny. I liked the ending where they brought it all together with the guy, but like it was just okay.
Okay.
So then I actually put a 12-hour shift at number 3, and this is the one where like sometimes it's 4 and Scare Package, like they move. They
Right.
moved a lot. Because the movie was really absurd to me, and I really liked that about it. Like I found a lot of absurdity in the humor and the moments that were happening, in that they, in some ways, were very realistic. Like, again, if you've ever been in a small town underfunded hospital, like it's not far off from what you're seeing in that whatever small town rural hospital. The nurses are kind of gritty. The people working are kind of coarse. Like, so, and I actually laughed. I think more than I was supposed to laugh in this movie. I don't think, like, when there's like this reoccurring skit by the pot machine where they keep finding the bag of orchids like abandoned throughout this movie by this pot machine and stuff, and like I found that funny. And then at the end again, when the hypochondriac comes and like hands in the organs or whatever, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I fully understood this movie. I'm glad I started it again and was like, nope, this is what it is, and I just kind of enjoyed it for the ride that it was.
Right.
Yeah, that was number 3. So I bet you can guess what my number 2 and 1 are.
I'm going to say Snow White, then Cocaine Bear.
You are correct. I am a sucker for fairy tales. I liked Snow White. I thought this was a good take on it. I love the main actors. Like, all of the actors in this I thought did really great. Yeah, it was just a good take on a classic fairy tale. Acted well, beautifully shot, like creepy as fuck in moments. Like, I wish it would have done a bit more. I think it could have done a bit more with those actors, but I think it was good at what it was, and I'm always a sucker for a good fairy tale story. So that's number 2.
Right on.
And then I just, like, you knew before it had to do this podcast that I would put Cocaine Bear on this list at number 1. Like, I don't think there was ever a doubt in anyone's mind.
There was nothing competitive to you on this list with Cocaine Bear. Okay.
So, that's where it is.
Well, we have pretty different lists, I'm going to confess. We do match, I believe, in 2 places. Sorry?
We're always very off.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, we're still simpatico in that we like movies and we like talking about movies.
Yeah.
What I like about all of these movies, and what I've missed about that, and that you don't see in movies that have fatter budgets than most of these, is I really feel the personality of the writer and the filmmakers being expressed here. Even if I don't love it, it feels like a distinct individual voice. So I think they're all deserve to be complimented for that. I am going to back you up, and I am going to put Mad God in 6th place. But I don't think I dislike it in the same way that you dislike it. I think that the lack of narration and the fact that it is consciously being made up as it went along hurts the... There's no processing it. There's no kind of breaking it down or bringing anything out of it. It's just meant to be the grim experience that it is. And like I say, it might be better served to just watch and listen to your favorite trippy album or something like that. I have such respect for the work that went into this. Like, I have such respect for the work that went into it. But as a movie to sit down and watch, it feels like what it is, which is a long meander through something unpleasant. Right? For all of that negative thing that I said, though, I wouldn't say dismiss Mad God. If there's part of you that's curious about it from this conversation, don't write it off. It's in last place, but it's in a group of really weird movies. This is where you're going to be disappointed in me, though. In 5th place, I put Snow White. A Tale of Terror. In a group of really weird, distinct, and original movies, I guess this was the least original because it had that framework on it. And there's strange and darkness to the movie, but no, not the chaos. You still basically know what you're getting with this. But because it's delivered with Sigourney Weaver especially, it's particularly delicioso. But it didn't stand out. I wrestled with this one and Prevenge, which comes next in fourth place. I respect the balls of this movie, or the breasts of this movie, or the feminine energy of this movie. Fill in, like, this was a gutsy, kind of rubbing your face in uncomfortable stuff movie. And because it does that, it sort of pushes you back a little bit and hurts the enjoyment factor. But again, I respect the clarity of vision and the courage of the filmmaker, and I want to reward her for that.
I was trying to convey as well.
Yeah. It is not a comedy. If you watch the trailer, they are misrepresenting this movie terribly. So go in knowing what it is, and that might help you. Because I was expecting to laugh when I hit play on this movie, and I did not. But I can't not respect it, so it made its way to fourth place. All the way in third place is where I put 12-Hour Shift. I think it... Yeah, that you and I matched in that place, yeah. I figured, like, it is original and it's uncomfortable, but it's not as uncomfortable as Prevenge. It's something that I can imagine revisiting in the right mood and, like, trying to get a little deeper into its vibe. And as arch and dark as it is, it may be closer to the real world than anyone wants to be comfortable with.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so... Not saying that all nurses are drug addicts. I mean, I don't want to get in trouble with my wife. You can change any couch into a bed by telling your wife to calm down. Fun fact. Okay. Upset. In second place. Cocaine Bear. No! Look, I think it's the most accessible movie of all of these six, for sure. As far as going in cold, is the movie going to deliver what the title is promising? Yes. But it is a bit of a weird wander. It kind of gets around to showing you Cocaine Bear. And, I love the vibe, I love the weirdness, and I will revisit this movie. But
it's like Zombie Beaver. You know you're going to get Zombie Beavers.
Yeah. Zombie Beavers is going to be... I'm going to watch that again, for sure. Yeah. I think Scare Package surprised me the most. I was expecting to like it, but I wasn't expecting it to be as consistently entertaining as it was. And, again, 6 different stories, 6 different writers, 7 different directors, something like this. Like, it shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have been as good as it was. But I'm also going to say it really put its finger right on that nerd dot, of like, I grew up in those video stores. I kind of could have ended up being that guy. I kind of am that. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for not sugarcoating that. I recognized the madness in this movie. It's more my vibe of madness than the other ones were. As much as I could appreciate the madness in all of these movies, this madness felt like it was made for me. This was my kind of madness. So
this movie was hilarious too. Like, it was very funny.
Yeah. And I don't know. I maybe upset. I'm sorry to. Cocaine Bear was number 2, man. I mean, it wasn't in last place. You're still going to talk to me and stuff, right?
We'll see.
We'll take some time. Is there anything you'd like to say to the good people on the internet before we sign off of this particularly strangely horrifying episode of Rank and Review?
Just watch Cocaine Bear. Yeah. That's all.
When in doubt, watch Cocaine Bear.
Exactly.
Good enough. Look, I told you it was going to be a weird episode, and guess what? It was a weird episode. It was strange indeed. Strange horrors. How do you think we did? You can send feedback to ranknreview@gmail.com. That's ranknreview@gmail.com. Let us know how you would rank it. Let me know, any kind of feedback you have for me, any message you have for Raylee, I can send forward towards her. Yeah, this was an odd episode and kind of my vibe, so I hope you guys enjoy that. It's been a little bit horror short this season of Rank and Review, so it was kind of nice to be back in my comfort zone, even though these were some super weird movies. Big thanks to Raylee for coming back yet again, and please tell a friend about Rank and Review. Please listen to my friend Jason DeBray's podcast called The Shelf Shedding Movie Show, and yeah, keep your ears for another episode of Rank and Review. Big love from the Great Plains of Canada. This is your host and random Canadian signing off. Until next, I'm in your ear.